Feel good to be alive.
Your grandmother and your mother ain't forgot
Love
your
is
birthday,
life.
have they?
And my mom actually called when I was in the shower.
She not calling. Look at that old sweet mom. Ain't forgot. No mom don't forget. Anybody else forget? They ain't gonna forget the church. That's why it's time for us to take care of the children for real and quit playing around. Trying to be about our Lord's business and no other.
That's gonna be the deliverance of today.
Okay, get a little further back.
Oh yes, we got a magnificent. I hope we know how beautiful this is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say everybody can give everybody time. All right. Everything running. All right. We begin in the divine name of the divine creator.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Sufian.
Mm-hmm.
Illallah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. Peace, love, and wisdom to all
Mm-hmm.
who stand on the fire of love, truth, peace, purity, and justice. Today we got a subject matter. And on this beloved day, which is the Creator's Day, and we get to understand
Mm-hmm.
another day in paradise.
Yep.
Our topic today is the spirit a mystery God? And this is what we got to uncover
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves. Now, if we has been told, if we've been keeping up with those who are in the know,
Mm-hmm.
then we should know that if you don't have knowledge of self, then you serve a mystery God.
That's right.
Now, we have heard from different sides when it comes to understanding God. We have to understand God from its original beginning.
That's right.
Now, how could self honor something that is a mystery?
Mm. Good question.
How can self honor anything that is a mystery? Mystery means unknown. So we have to understand there has been different understandings meshed into the understanding of what God is. So we brought divine law just our past meeting, and divine law stated who God was, is, and evermore to be. So if you've been studying and learning this knowledge, this will give us the understanding of where to begin. Now, it's a blessing to be and an honor to be able to understand the knowledge and wisdom that has been blessed by the divine creator. And that everything that served truth served the divine creator. And everything that is not truth does not serve the divine creator. So we got to get some understanding of what is the understanding of not just the Christian outlook of God. And we're going to dive into some concepts of how Christianity looks at God. And then we're going to see our ancestors. So when we already know and familiar with Christianity, so we'll start with some concepts of Christianity. Now, when we are asking the question to Christianity, what is God? Is God a spirit or is God a man? And this is the cards that is dealt into the understanding of what God is Christianity. So we have heard in Christianity, God is spirit. Now, when we have heard in Christianity, God came in the flesh. So these are two contradictory statements of Christianity. Now, we can't play both sides because you can't serve two masters. So in this understanding of God, is God a spirit or is God a man? Because in Christianity, God is spirit and God comes in the flesh. So this has confused most of the believers of this thought understanding. If we want to begin in that, yes, because there's some powerful understanding.
You get it straight.
Some very powerful understanding. And these are familiar concepts where you don't have to just dig into the Bible and pull these out. These are heard a lot. So if, and under Christianity, if God come in the flesh and then God died, that will indicate God is man. If God did not come into the flesh, that would be God is spirit. So what we want to understand is, why is this such a dichotomy or a separation that has caused many denominations? Because we have not started with the origin of the word. Do any of us know the origin of the word God? It's in the Bible. So, as a word in the Bible, what is the origin of this word? Okay. So, we have their sources and we have our sources. We have to be very clear on this. Just like the lion got his cubs and the tiger got her cub. So we got to understand this is why it's called knowledge of self. If you don't have knowledge of self, then this opens up the door for the mystery God. So, in one hand, God died in the flesh, and so we come to this understanding as we look in their sources of what they call etymology. We're going to go into the word God. We got that in and get that on screen. So we got it on the screen. Okay, God as a noun. They started off with a lowercase g. And then it says also a uppercase G. Now, this is something else that comes along when understanding God in the English language presented by Christianity. There's a little g God, and there's a big G God. Now, in original text, the original text have a separator between uppercase and lowercase. Now, this is common grammar of understanding the language we speak and comparing it to other language that are older than the language we speak. Now, let's start with the language we do speak. The language we do speak, they call it English. So right there, we got the criminal by his tail.
Yep.
This is not England. So to be speaking English means this is someone else's language.
That's correct.
Now, when we go into God in this language, it says big G and little g, also the big G. Old English, God. Supreme being, deity, the Christian God. There's also image of a God, God-like person. So in their definition, we got things like supreme being. We got words as deity. We got words such as the Christian God. Giving a clear example, of where the word God under Christianity comes from. A Christian thought pattern or a Christian language. Is English a Christian language? Is the language you speak, is it a Christian language? Well, the word God is a Christian word, as is written on their etymology. Then it says an image of a God. Now the God has an image. Now we can remember they brought an image.
Yeah, sure did. I remember that good. They sure did.
So we know a spirit that's up somewhere in space don't have an image.
Right on.
So if they brought an image of a God, now we seeing the definition under God was being presented. So that image that they brought with them was the image of a God-like person. So we seeing it characterized to take on flesh. Now it says from image to a person. So that fits the characteristic of what we just said. Is God spirit or is God man? So it's leaning to more under Christianity that God is man. There's an image and there's a God-like person. So we know and understand that God-like person with the Christian image is known as Jesus the Christ. And so Jesus the Christ had an image. Now this is what we're going into. The next words just go down into showing you that it comes from earlier dates of Proto-Germanic. Then it got other Germanic languages. So it comes from words such as Dutch, got the word God. Old High German, got the word God with a T and with two T's. All this which means that which is invoked, to call, invoke. I don't know, only flesh can speak. To call up on something, you know, we call on the phone every day.
Oh, yeah.
To call, only a person can do that. Then it says the notion could be divine entity summoned to a sacrifice. Now this is their etymology of God. So as that settle in, we have to put together the understanding of a timeline. Did the Christians come first? So we have to ask ourselves, when was the first time Christians was used?
Mhm.
Did Jesus call himself a Christian?
Mhm. Good question. Good question.
Or did Christian come after Jesus?
Mhm.
So this is the godlike person of Christianity that we really need to dive in on and get some understanding on, because this image or this godlike person that is considered under Christianity as God was brought with an image. This is very key. If the image was not important, why did they bring an image? To make you say it's important. For you to see an image, it must be important. So if we have to understand the image is what's been hidden, this is where we got to back up and just ask ourselves a question. So we know Christian was not used by Jesus himself. So that will be considered a loan word now, something borrowed from people that existed before Christians existed. So who are the people that existed before Christians? This is where we get the story of Jesus. This is where it get interesting for people if they begin to start searching. Because if you read the text itself says that Jesus was a Jew,
Mhm.
not a Christian,
Mhm.
but a Jew.
Mhm.
Do we remember that?
Yeah.
He said he come to the lost sheep
That's right. Lost sheep.
of the tribe of Israel. That's right.
Mhm.
Israel is considered Judaism.
Mhm.
So in the text, it says Jesus was a Jew. So if we go into the Jewish history, what do we find? That Jews predated Christians.
Mhm.
So if Jews predated Christians, then we need to go inside of the history of Jews, because something with the Jews is hidden with the image. So this is how we get and work our way back to the truth. Now the story goes that the Jews turned Jesus over to Rome. And so the Jews and the Romans was together in one area where they can exchange for crime. So the Jews had a crime and they couldn't convict them under their law because their law was under the law of seizure.
Yep.
So when we have the entanglement of Jews and Christians, if Jews are the people that Jesus was, then why would the holy people, you find where another holy prophet murdered another holy prophet? That is against violation of the whole message and not withstanding divine law. So Jews are the people who said that Jesus should be murdered for making himself God. Do we catch this? For making himself God is the reason why he didn't exist as long as he should have exist, according to the account of the story under Christianity. And this account is coming from the Jews. And the Jews say that they said that he should not exist because he make himself to be God. Now, the Christians, 1,000 years later, worship the person that the Jews said should not exist as the image of God. Do we see a connection here with the words? See, they want to get us in the word salad, filled with word garbage, where it has an infinite regress. But when you understand who is who with knowledge of self, now when you go in these texts, you can understand clearly what the whole understanding is. And I hope those who have an ear, let them hear. We're going to be getting understanding, but this is how we get back into the right action. If you don't have the right knowledge, you can't have the right thinking. So if you think Jesus is a Christian, that's wrong thinking. And you're only thinking wrong because you receive wrong knowledge. And wrong knowledge won't fix right thinking. So if you think Jesus is a Jew, that's also wrong thinking, received by wrong knowledge. Because no believer kills another believer. That's rule number one. So when we're talking about those violating rule number one, the Jews, they violated, and the Rome men violated. Both by committing murder. Y'all do understand if people murder people and they will never discover the murder of the victim 20 years later, and that person is still alive, that this person is still guilty. So we're talking about a whole race of people that is the offspring of these accounts. Murderers and liars. So when we are speaking about, this is why it's so important to get to the image, because as we're going to find out, every human has an image. And it's something about image of Jesus that the Jews and the Christians didn't want us to find out. And also, it's something about the image that they had to alter. Because if he didn't look like them, because he wasn't a Jew or a Christian, then they would have to make an altar, a GMO image that looked like them. So now they can have us thinking. they have the image of something powerful or greater. And let's back up. The Jews said that Jesus shouldn't exist because he make himself as God. Now, when we speed it up, this is old time, coming in the 33rd AD. So now when we speed it up to the Bible, this is 1,000 years later. So now a lot of things have transpired between 1,000 years later to add up right knowledge. And with certain revealed texts, all of the knowledge is there for self. And self just has to understand and comprehend. And this is where knowledge of self is given as the sacred gift. This was already mentioned. So Jesus wasn't a Jew and Jesus wasn't a Christian. Then what was Jesus? The image that he had, apparently the Jews and the Christians, or the Jews and the Romans, didn't like him. So today, when you come and speed this time period up 1,000 years, now another 1,000 years done passed. Now let's fast forward to our time. Remember, these people have offspring, so they will carry the same nature as in the past. This is why once you know man, the nature of man never changed. Just like you know the seasons, when the seasons change, you'll know the nature of man. But this is why in understanding of religion, they made man a mystery. And they gave God the glory. And under Christianity, God is Jesus. Now, in this image, we got to understand who Jesus is bringing upon the image of who Jesus is. So if Jesus is not a Jew or a Christian, who is Jesus? So we can start with the name. Is Jesus the original name? See, and we all talking about language here. The thing is that the people who call themselves Jews and Romans understand the name. This is why they changed the name when they changed the image. So the name, as we know, could not be in Jesus. Could not be in Jesus. The understanding of that is the understanding of the language of names. The J is a key understanding to where this understanding comes from. If you can understand the letter J, then you can understand the language of where Jesus came from. They say that the letter J didn't arrive to 500 years. But the question was never asked, well, where was the J that they received from 500 years? Where did they get it from? Where did they get the J from? So this is very key. because the J defines a whole understanding once you understand the knowledge of self. So the J comes from the language of Arabic. This is where they got the letter J from. So when we're talking about how did they get the letter J from Arabic, this is the language that was pre-existing before a Christian was a Christian, before a Jew was a Jew. This is what they copy from to alter everything that we know of today. So now when we're talking about the J comes from Arabic, this is how we trace the understanding back to who Jesus is and the image of Jesus, because this leads us back all the way to the beginning. And this has a very profound ending once we understand the beginning. So today was to confuse us by having us worship something that we did not understand. And that's called a mystery God. So the mystery of God is that God does have an image. The mystery of God is that God is a person. The understanding that has been wiped away is due to the Jews and Romans. The Jews and Romans are playing this character out because they put those who are subject under Christianity to sleep. So those under Christianity do not have knowledge of self, or they will know who created Christianity, or they will know who created Judaism. Today they have teamed up and became one as Judeo-Christianity. And it's to hide the image and the truth of God in plain sight and have you worship a mystery, something that is unknown. So we coming on in. And so I mentioned the word Arabic. Why is this word important? Because now we can bring in the hidden image of Jesus. There was a man by the name of Noble Drew Ali of America that revealed this truth to the shores of America. This is why it's so important. So we have something very powerful under our hands, and something powerful we must understand. So we have the one of the greatest documents for America and for all Americans to know the truth. And this is the Moorish Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by Noble Drew Ali. And in the 46th chapter of the Moorish Holy Quran, the beginning of Christianity, the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nations founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke and law of Christianity. Now, this is to be understood. Jesus was crucified by Rome, and this is the foundation of Christianity. I'm going to say that again. Jesus was murdered under Christianity, and this is the foundation. Do that sound? Did that sound right to y'all? To set a foundation on murder. Does that sound right? So who are the people to set a foundation on murder and lie? This began in Rome. The Roman nations, not the European nations, the Roman nations. Is who crucified the image. So when we talk crucify the image, because the image, we find the J come from Arabic, because the image was related to something of Arabic. And when we find Arabic, this is where we find the image of Jesus. So what we've been taught, what Arab is, has been taught to you under Christianity. This has never been revealed. And this was revealed by Noble Drew Ali. He revealed the bloodline of Jesus, which is the image they murdered. And then later, by the time 2,000 years later, they made this image and this person their God. Now it's twofold. So let's get right to the twofold. The image represents the original. So they have the original man. This is what the image represents. They have the original man, and they alter the original man. And then they have the murder of the original man. And this represents the foundation of why murder is the foundation of Christianity, because it's built on murdering the original man. And Jesus held the image of the original man. And this has been held back for 2,000 years. There's been war after war by these Romans shedding blood for this secret to be concealed. But as noble Drew Ali was prepared by the great God, Ilallah, that the sons of Allah will be the revealers of light. And this is the light that is being revealed. We have to understand the connection here and understand why what's coming forth is going to be very life changing if you understand and if you can listen with the inner ear. So Noble Drew Ali exposed all of Roman nation secrets, risking himself to expose the secrets in the open. So when we understand why Moorish is the bloodline of Jesus, and this was hidden from all of America and all of the world by Rome and Jews for 2,000 years, because something predated them that will help and control the world to keep evil away and for paradise to be on earth and for everyone to live their life to the fullest and not in no form of sin and slavery. So now through this foundation of murder, you have the concept of being born in sin or the original sin. So when it's saying that Jesus said that your father is a liar and your father is a devil and a devil from the beginning, this is what is being spoken of. It's talking about a nature that is now 2,000 years past that we can now validate as a nature that has passed, that they hate a certain image. And these people still exist under Christianity, spreading murder, death, falsehood, all in the name of a mystery God that they use for their scapegoat. But it's for their salvation. But as Martin Luther King say, you don't want to be left in this house that's burning. Because your salvation is linked to your worship. If it's a mystery to what you worship, then you inside of a burning house. And to get you out, this is the greatest thing or the only water that can put the fire out. So now when we understand why it's called the Moorish Holy Quran, we're going to go to Sufa 70. Sufa al 70. Now, when it comes to the word, or let's say the word Jesus and then the letter J, the letter J comes from Arabic. And this is why it's so important. We're going to trace the letter and we're going to find the image. Now, Moorish is the understanding of what Allah has prepared for us of our ancient way in a new era of time. But this is where Moorish is derived from. Moorish is derived from the Moorish word more raw. So you put a M in front of the word Arab, and you got the word moral. This is what they stole and created a whole false reality and made it a norm called Christianity and being a Christian. This is of old. This is older. We're going to read a couple sufas out of it so you can understand how old this is. Let the truth be now revealed concerning, and this is who the Moorish are. The Moorish are the most ancient people. Moorish are the most ancient people known as Moral. This is what we called ourselves. Moraba. And so when we called ourselves Moraba, this is where you get the word Moorish from. So Moorish is the bloodline of Jesus and all of the other prophets. All of the prophets was of a Moorish descent. And this is a divine word in a time that we wouldn't know what this is unless it's divinely prepared by Ilallah. Because the people that have you captive would never tell you how to break yourself free. So guess what they did with the word moral? They, when I say they, I'm saying the Romans and the Christians, they turned moral to Arab. Did we catch that? They turned moral to Arab. How we say it today with the Christianity phonetics. Arab. Their true name was Moral. Moorish. So now when the J came from the Arabic language, Arabic is a alteration of Moorish. So the letter J came from Arabic. Arabic is Moorish. So Jesus will be Moorish. And so to change the whole game, they had to rearrange the plan. So now you think Arabs is the people of the Middle East.
Yep.
When those are not Arabs. For you are the Arab. They mispronounce moral intentionally to denigrate or to denationalize and create what we call now a whole new identity of mystery. The mystery God. Now you call someone else what you are. So that's why Noble Drew Ali was prepared by the divine creator, Ilallah, to bring us back our divine national divinity, Moorish. So the Romans and Christians do not like morals, do not like the Morabbas, don't like the Moorish or the Moorish Americans. So they don't like the Americans because we are of a Moorish descent. We come from the direct descendants of Morab, who is Abraham. And they have a certain image. And we know Moorish means dark. So now when we get the word black in America, it's like picking on us or spitting in our face, joning and teasing us. Because our divine blackness is called Moorish. When we divine and black is called Morab. So who are the Moorish? The Moorish are the 54th name of Ilallah. Murabba. This is the 54th name of Ilallah, means it has so much power if you understand knowledge of self. And we known as that sacred smoke. That sacred smoke. Now the Moorish is the first civilization and bringer of knowledge and wealth to Mesopotamia, to Egypt, even into Syria. This is why they murdered one of our own. The Moorish be the heritage of the Arab people. So the people that they now telling you that they are Arabs, when you see that culture, that is your heritage of Moorish. That's how the Moorish look, their image, and the God-like person. This all ties in. See, the Moors, the Morabs, the Moorish is the heritage, is our heritage. See, and only the divine creator could come back and tell us. So back again is God a spirit or is God a man? Now, as we understand now that the J came from Arabic and the Arabic is Moorish, so what they crucified was the Moorish people, the Moorish image, and brought to death. And so now, 2,000 years later, the word Moorish, Morabba, which we would say Morab in that ancient times, would no longer exist. So we didn't even know the word Morab because of the Romans and Christians. They wiped it out to the point of they thought the divine creator ain't man. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're talking about is a spirit or is it man? So now this is why we got to come and tie it all together. We got about 58 more minutes. And it should all be very common to our common sense of why they called you black. And they say blacks not wanted. Blacks can't come here. Blacks don't drink here. Whites only, huh? no blacks. Blacks on this side. Who is these people that's putting these signs up?
Yeah.
Who are these people that say your skin is cursed?
Yeah.
Where's that book that sin? What do they call themselves? These are the true Romans and Christians. You are Moorish, and you finna find out what do you call yourself as a Moor Rabba. See, this is where you get where they call Jesus master and they call him Rabba. Or in later day tones, Rabbi. Rabbi is the word Rabba from Moor, Morabba. So they called him a Moor. But we have to trace the linguistics back so we can understand and bring documentation for the clarity of proof. For those who don't have an ear. For those who can see, let them see. So the bloodline of Jesus is Moorish. Now, there is a distinction between understanding the message here. Noble Drew Ali also brought forth not only the divine divinity of who you are, but also the divine creed. And so now we have this understanding. So now when Christians apply the word God, they apply the word God as a spirit. But throughout all their texts, it's applied, God is given human attributes. So in Christianity, God is a mystery God. He don't come in flesh. That's under Christianity. But somehow God came in the flesh in Christianity and they killed God. So this flesh that comes is called the flesh of the Moorish, or the flesh or the Morabba. So the people of Morabba, the Moorish descent, they don't have the same image as the Christians or the same image as the Romans. They are different, so they look different. So they have a different DNA. This is why Noble Drew Ali, DNA. Noble Drew Ali brought us back our DNA. Not only our divine divinity, but also our divine DNA. A certain wisdom that runs through you. That seems like no one understands but you and your kind. So this is where you get the thunderous understanding of spirit in one episode and man in another episode by Christianity. Because in Moorish Islam, we have a certain understanding of wisdom from the divine creator. And it's within self. As he said, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is not of observation. For the kingdom of heaven is within. So when we're talking about within, this is what the understanding comes from. It was a Moorish Islam. So in Moorish Islam, Noble Drew Ali brings back spirit man. Spirit man. Spirit man. Spirit man. Remember, under the concept and thought pattern of Christianity, spirit somewhere in space in heaven, and man is somewhere separated away from heaven and can't be, remember, born in sin in Christianity. So you need a savior to save you from you being born in sin.
Can't get out.
So now that's where the confusion comes in. Now it creates a mystery self that now worships a mystery God. Now you have the opportunity to reformat. You have an opportunity to start from scratch, to start from a blank sheet of page, and to get the correct knowledge of right knowledge into your mind. So, spirit man, this is who the Moorish are. The Morabas are the spirit man. Anyone from that descent, as Noble Drew Ali said, from Illallah, no man can change the nature of your descendant nature. Your descendant nature is your divine nature.
Beautiful.
Your divine nature is why you have the divine skin. They may call it black in legalism, but we call it Moorish. So when we understand that type of flesh or image is the spirit man, and this is the God-like person that later date religions will worship as God. So we're going to bring in some truths that was given to us. The Moorish thought. Man himself is not the body nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Illallah. So this is defining the understanding of what we incarnated as. During our incarnation, we are a spirit man. Because we are not the body. We are not the mind. We are something greater than those that control both. In some texts, they call it the all. This is what we understand as Moorish thought as our foundation. That the thoughts of Illallah cannot be circumscribed. No finite genetic can comprehend infinite genetics. See, so this is why it's so key today. These are the revealers of light. And this is the understanding that Christians and Romans didn't want you to have, which was the original understanding. So now that we have and come through the Moorish Holy Quran, this is the last thing I want us to understand from the Moorish Holy Quran to sum it all up about Jesus the Moor, Jesus the Moorish, that the Moraba is the God man of today. But everyone on earth shall overcome and be like him, them, a son of Allah.
Mm.
Now, this is what we call son of man. In Christianity, they call it son of man. In Moorish thought, we call it son of Illallah. Laha illallah. So we have to understand Moorish thought separated from religious thought. Different, they have created over 46,000 religions to steal from this Moorish thought because it's so divine. And it will fix anyone up and make them into what they were designed to be. A God man and God woman if you got that Moorish skin. So the son of what they call the Son of God that came into the flesh was the Son of Allah. And this is who he was always speaking of as his father. So now when we are speaking about he that sent me, I speak not my own words, but the words of him who sent me. This is the Son of Allah. So this is the hidden mystery that has been concealed from the public of who is the beginning. So when we have Noble Drew Ali, we had people that studied with Noble Drew Ali that carried this on. But you have to understand Noble Drew Ali first and the teachings to understand what comes after. So when you hear in the Moorish Holy Quran that man, there are two cells. See, this is Moorish thought, the higher and the lower self. So now when you come into the noble Drew Ali and you come into the honorable Elijah Muhammad, this same Moorish thought is still present. Is now explained of what he learned from Noble Drew Ali in the adept chamber. So when we talking about when Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, breaks down black and white, this is the same teaching as the lower self and the higher self. When he speaks about the black germ and the brown germ, this is the two cells. So when you now understand that the white man was created from the brown germ, then now you can understand this is part of the lower self. And this lower self is what created the white man. You break down the black germ. And this is how you get the weakest germ, which is the white germ. So now when we have the whole teachings all as one Islam, we have the divine understanding of black man and black woman. So when we understand that man is God and God is Allah, this is Moorish thought from our ancient ancestors, our Moorish forefathers and foremothers, the moral. So nothing has changed except everything is explained from top to bottom. And so over 66 trillion years, you was given back because Noble Drew Ali told you time never was when man was not. And then you have the theology of time. Listen to the science that he's breaking down, giving you what Noble Drew Ali gave him. Time never was, giving you the theology of time. And now you have the whole understanding from that point. And now you was conveyed that even something greater that was finna increase your understanding was coming after him. These lessons have been divinely prepared for all of those who are seeking knowledge of self. So knowledge of self falls upon this obligation upon the son of Adam and the son of man. So now the son of Adam and the son of man. A humble servant of Ilallah, descended from the holy, the Moorish and the ancient chief priest keepers of the sacred Ilah Bakar of Abraham and the divine. This is a son of Adam and a son of man. So a son of Allah, which the Christians would re-alter and call son of God, and they would say the son of God is Jesus, which is Moorish, would say Jesus is God. And that man saved us. So we have to understand in context, they don't know what they're speaking on. It's a mystery. For us, we know what they're saying. It's us in the flesh. So there is no such thing as a spook God up there in the heavens. God is flesh and blood and brawn, just like the great spirit is spirit man. This has been hard. This has been going around before even the lower self, Yakub, was even created and made. The white germ grafted the brown germ into the white germ. This was way before then. So now we have our full history. It don't go only back to 66 trillion years. It goes back to 144 trillion years. So now when we talking about the original man, who is the original man? The original man is Ilallah. The first 76 trillion years ago, we was given. Now, the great revelation is that we have all of our memory recollected 144 trillion years since. This is what we speak when we say the first. Ilallah is the first Moor, the first Marab, the first Moorish, the first Muslim, the first, as we're going to get, Sufian. And this is what a Musalam is to become by receiving the greatest wisdom of knowledge of self called Islam. There's 3 graduations to Islam. Islam, Musalam, Sufian. And a son of Allah is called Sufian Ilallah. This is what the Moorish, this is what Moorish American means. So now we have everything on the table. The Moorish are the holy people. The Holly. This is why you see holly. And then they put the wood. But y'all got to understand it ain't about a magic. It's talking about that wood. You know what we call it. Y'all know our Moorish slang, our black slang, that wood. See, that wood of that black man is holy. See, and out of that black man came the black man and the black woman. Both are holy and equally holy and divine. And this is what is called Sufian. This is the way that all, as Noble Drew Ali put in the Moorish Holy Quran, this is the only way. Let's get that on the record. This is all important. Let it soak in while we have the moment of silence. And here we come. And just for study, this comes out of chapter 44. 44 and 7. There is but one way. Now I just want to get us and pull us up. The one way is called Sufian. So the one way is called the Sufian that is in the Moorish Quran, that was destined for us to find as we return to the state of mind of our ancient Moorish forefathers and foremothers. There's but one way for a man to be produced. And this is why the black woman is God. Moorish thought.
Yeah.
The black man is Allah. There's only one way for man to be produced. And this is what they never wanted the black man and the black woman and the black child to know.
Yeah.
That's why in your Moorish thought, you don't worship a man as a god. For you was created by Illallah. Who created you? You came out of God, the black woman. You came out of Allah, the black man. This is why you got your Moorish skin. So now, the question be, do we understand? That it is something about the image.
Oh, yeah.
It's something about it.
Yeah. While we're looking for that, I would just like to say that when you say something about the black sacred smoke, you know, it's amazing how the Vatican go about selecting their pope, and they use the smoke. That black smoke representing that Maraba, that ancient holy one. It's got to be. Why? Why? They say when you see the white smoke coming up out the Vatican, they haven't selected it yet. But when the black smoke comes, they have a big pope. I just want to share that.
Islam. And that's why when we know what Noble Drew Ali brought us, it's called Islamism. See, Sufian Islam is Islamism in our just English tone. Now I'm going to read an excerpt from I read some from Noble Drew Ali. Let's read some from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of the Message of the Black Man, chapter 20. Understand self. It is important, right at the bottom of that paragraph, it is important, my people, to learn the true knowledge of themselves. This is what they've been keeping away from you. This was written in the 70s. It is important that my people learn the true knowledge of self, as it means their salvation. We are not Negroes because God, whose proper name is Allah, Illallah, has taught us who we are. Did we catch that?
Yeah.
Didn't Noble Drew Ali say you not Negro?
That's right.
Here come Honorable Elijah Muhammad say you are not Negro.
That's correct.
We are not colored people.
That's correct.
Because God has taught me who the colored people are. The American Negro is without knowledge of self. You are a so-called Negro because you are not a Negro. So-called black, so-called African, so-called Negro. Illallah has given to me our proper names. The people from whom we were taken, and now we have that history of our Moorish spiritual ancestry, our Moorish Sufian, our Moorish wisdom. We must become aware of the knowledge of self and the time in which we are living. You must know these things whether you agree that Elijah Muhammad is on time or out of time. If what I say is out of season, it goes for nothing. If I am on time or an in season, then all I say will bear fruit. It's in the 70s. And now we have K.O.S. here in the forefront, giving the message loud and clear. Our next paragraph. There is much misunderstanding among us because of our inferior knowledge of self. We have been to the schools where they do not teach us knowledge of self. We have been to the schools of our slave master children, Romans and Christians. We have been to their schools and gone as far as they have allowed us to go. That was not far enough for us to learn a knowledge of self. The lack of knowledge of self is one of our main handicaps. It blocks us throughout the world. If you were the world and you were a part of the world, you would also turn a man down if he did not know who he actually was. If we, the so-called Negroes, do not know our own selves, how can we be accepted by a people who have a knowledge of self? Let that sink in. It is time for us to learn who we really are. This in the 70s now. And it is time for us to understand ourselves. Noble Drew Ali was in the 1920s. Elijah Muhammad got this in the 1970s. Here it is in 2024, and we still don't hear the alarm of K.O.S. That true knowledge is here for you today, whether you accept it or reject it. God has said that we are members of the holy people, or the Moorish nation of the earth, the original black. Original means first. And we got the first as Ilallah. So Allah is the original first of all. See, and that's just a little bit. All this time has passed, and our people don't know who God is, who Jesus is, nor the mystery of man. And these mysteries have already been revealed, starting from Noble Drew Ali, bringing forth Islam. And those who brought forth Islam after him brought the same message and brought the science, the God science. And we still in need of K.O.S. We should be running the world off of K.O.S. right now. So divine and divinity are restored, as all of the divine prophets who came before said that this will be fulfilled. I can take you on more down. But for time's sake, and for this to settle in your mind and to grow in your heart, to understand that the black man is God. My apology. The black woman is God. And the black man is Allah. And we, as God and Allah, have been serving other gods. Because of these school systems didn't teach us knowledge of self. So now I gotta bust it open to so you'll know what is knowledge of self. So when you see K.O.S, this is K.O.S, knowledge of self. Out of our own Moorish Sufian, out of Sufa 2 and 54. Instead, Islam is first a devotion to self-knowledge. So when you heard Elijah Muhammad say he was bringing you a new Islam, that new Islam was the knowledge of self. K.O.S. What Noble Drew Ali was giving you as your divine heritage and the title to your vast estate was that you was Moorish, Sufian, American. Your nationality, your divine creed, and where you was forever come out of that divine soul. The word America comes from the word Murabba. And so all these things need to be understood, that nobody was never changing Islam. They was bringing you the correct version, the truth, instead of a version or Islam. He gave us black history and it ain't no Islam in it. So we know Romans and Christians don't like you to know who you are. So once we understand why Noble Drew Ali said, what is an angel? What is a prophet? An angel is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad come to tell you black woman is God and black man is Allah. And this is the new Islam. And you walked away because Malcolm X. And this is what Malcolm X would have taught you if he was still existing. Is Islam, self-knowledge, K.O.S. To honor God through your good works and virtuous life. To honor God through your good works. This comes back to self. What is self-works? How is self-living life? Is it a righteous? Because the Moors are the more righteous. When we talking about sound mind, we talking about self-knowledge. Great Elder, would you bring us out and close us in with Sufa 4? This would be our time.
creator. Al-Khalid. One, O you who believe, let it be said. Al-Khalid. Two, the creator. Three, and the fourth name of Allah, the one, the absolute, the almighty. Four, behold, the creator of all things, not some, but everything you see. How many can say that? None. Five, the author and grantor of existence. Sometimes I think when we read many books that some author wrote and grantors, we forget about the true author and the true grantor. We think about the ones who just wrote the book and just got it published, and you start from that point. Six, the designer of its plane and complexity. And you know what, I'm just walking along and thinking and looking around, and I just see nature itself. It's just so beautiful to see a creation like that and how it all in harmony. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. 7th verse says, the maker of all life and the world. Now, who will be foolish enough to turn to others when he done told you he's the maker of all life and the world? And you make others your idol, your statue, your worship, people you look up to see, and they can't. Number 8, 2 more verses. The bringer of the heavens. 9, the architect of all knowledge and civilization. Now, who can say that? They're the architect of all knowledge. Who can say that? And civilization. I think I would worship the ones who could say that. Not no other. The last verse, the 10th verse said, without the existence of Allah, the concept of nothing could not exist. Think on that. Think on that. And today, this society is swallowed up by authors, but they don't have it right. And if we ain't careful, all these old authors that we're reading about going to lead you to the, you know what, to the abyss.
That's what we got to remember.
That right there. Who the real creator?
Mm-hmm. See how so much power was brought to us.
Yeah, yeah.
by the knowledge.
Yeah. And somehow we get amnesia, and when we hear somebody now come and put their concept in different places on the land and name them state and all, we think that that's where it all started at. Like Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, they ain't always been it for 13, remember? Now we done got up to 50, and I guess another 100 years, now we'll be up to 100.
So is God a spirit or is God a man?
Mhm.
Should be defined by our Moorish Sufian, our Moorish wisdom of knowledge of self. We should know now what God is. Because if we don't know what God is, then you're going to worship what God is not.
That's right.
The spirit man,
The spirit man.
mystery revealed.
Mhm.
We are closed in the illustrious name of the beginning and the first. Sufa illallah. As-salam, salam. Sufian, Allah. Wadu.